Hello guys, welcome to Overtriggered, and I'm doing a deck profile on Dragonic Overlord. It's one of my favorite decks right now, even it is not the best deck. It's like pretty underground, tier 3, tier 4 maybe, I'm not sure about the tier list. But I play this deck for fun and I really enjoy the mechanics with the restanding Vanguard. I will show you today how far I've come with the deck list, and I'm pretty excited for the support in the DBT03. Because there were some cards which are pretty nice to play, and I'm excited to playtest them, and I will come up with a future video about that, what to play, what not to play. I will experiment more on different decks, but that's a topic for another video. Now let's dive into it. Alright, I hope the quality will be fine for this video. I'm working on another cam, but it's my budget is pretty low right now, so this will work out. As long as you can recognize the cards, everything should be fine. And I will blend in a full deck list right now, so if you just want to net deck really quick or want to look up some ratios, feel free to just pause the video right here and we will start right now. Now for the right line, pretty standard. Like Bar into Nihalem and Overlord, nothing special, and the Grade 0. Then I play 3 Persona Rights, cause why not? You have the space in the deck and you just want to max out on that, cause every Persona Right is a very strong turn. Then I play 4 Tribash. I only have 2 right now, and so I just turned 2 cards out there. And Tribash is really strong in this deck. I didn't realize it before, but you can give your Vanguard a crit. You can do it on the first attack if it doesn't have any rearguard. So when you attack with Overlord at Vanguard for the first attack, you can put this into Soul. Oh my god, Cam! You can put this into Soul and give him crit, which is awesome. If he wants to take the first damage, so now he has to take 2 damage, and I can restand and probably take another crit trigger or another trigger. And that what's awesome about this card is that it goes into Soul, because I played with Togashirashi at first, and Togashirashi is like such a dead card. Sometimes it's nice for restanding and then goes into Soul, but that just you have a problem in this deck with drawing cards, and that's why I also play draw triggers. And thing is, you don't have then the space left. You have to be sure that every card you draw will be an attacker or something useful before you attack. The Tribash with the Soul effect is such a great card, because you only play 7 grade 2s, so it's like 7 front row rear guards you play effectively. And if the opponent is smart, he just attacks your rear guards or retires them or whatever and focuses there, and you will run out of steam pretty quickly. And that's why I also play this deck as aggro as possible, almost, with a little tweak. And this card is just amazing, because now you have 11 front rear guards you can play, and this one even goes into Soul, giving your Nehalem no more to Soul Blast, and clears your field at the same time, so your opponent can't even retire a unit of yours, because this one will be in Soul. Definitely a 4-off right now, and I will see in the next set, but I'm pretty sure it will be another 4-off in the next set. Then I play 4 Berserk Dragons, because it's just a 15k beater standard. This will probably get cut to 2 in the next set, but for right now 4 is pretty fine. Also to mention is that the counterblast to retire a unit from the field is only restricted to a grade 2 or lower, so you can also retire back row rear guards. Also a thing to mention with Berserk Dragon, if you have a Tribash out there, you would probably need to attack with a Dragonic Overlord first at the rear guard, and then if he then has too many rear guards, you can attack with this one first before the second attack, with Overlord, since this one can retire 1 unit. And keep that in mind if you have a Tribash out, because maybe you can't activate Tribash, since you can only activate him when the opponent has 2 or less rear guards. So if he got 4 For on board you can delete one with Overlord and then one with Berserk Dragon with still attacking the Vanguard, so you don't have to waste an attack on a rearguard. With this skill, keep that in mind. It's pretty nice. 3, the Haarlems. Just a great card. If you got 2, you can boost your Vanguard for 10k, and also just a 15k booster, and you won't have the soul problems when you play 4 Tri-Bashes. Then we move on to the grade 1 boosters. I play 4 Gojos. Gojo is just a pretty good card, cause depends on how you draw and how often you want to resolve Berserk Dragon. You can pretty burn out on all these CBs, and with this card you can just put it behind, or you have to put it behind the Vanguard to countercharge, and with your Vanguard you just swing at rearguard and use this effect immediately if you really need it for the standing of the Dragonic Overlord, for example. Or you can just let him be there behind the Vanguard, and as soon as you need him you can use his effect on the first attack of Dragonic Overlord. Otherwise just let him be in the back row of your Vanguard, and then it's just a simple 8k booster, but you can always save him up, and that's what I really like about this card. Then 3 bars. It's just a nice card. You want to put him on the rear guards all the time, not at your Vanguard. It creates more value with the 13k, cause your rear guards will have 15k, and with him it's 28, so that's why you always want to put them behind your rear guards and never behind your Vanguard, except some exceptions, like if you have already all 3 on board right now. But not even then, you can put one in the back row and one in the front row, so it's a 26k lane when your Vanguard hits. So also keep that in mind and don't waste them, cause they are pretty good in this deck. Then I only played 2 Tenchastad. I played 4, and the 2 cards I cut for the 2 Tri-Bashes, which are face down, are 2 of them. I played this at 4, and then I realized pretty quick I'm more running out of front row rear guards, especially when I want to intercept, because I don't have many cards to guard in hand. Then I only have these ones, and when I don't have and press on the right to search, which happens a lot in this deck, because with the standing and extra drive check you can draw pretty much, and with the draw triggers. So a 2-off is totally fine, and especially with your bar. And with bar you can search your Tenchastad, and I will come to that later when I try to mulligan and explain how I play, like what's my playstyle. I will come to that. Then for the rest of the deck, it's 4 PGs, pretty standard, nothing more to say. And then I play 3 of these shield cards. These shield cards are pretty, yeah, it's not good, but it's necessary in this deck, cause I play also draw triggers, and then you can get to low shield or low shield value in hand. But this is a card that is definitely debatable to switch out. I'm looking for any draw engine for this deck, but I can't find any, to be honest. Then for the trigger lineup, over trigger should be self-explanatory. Then I play 4 heals, also pretty self-explanatory. Everybody plays 4 heals. Then 3 draw triggers, because you really need the draw triggers, because you are running out of hand pretty quickly, because you're calling so much onto the field, and it can be retired, and it will be retired through attacking or some skill. And you also need something to discard always, so you're going through the deck and thinning it, and this just helps keeping your hand stable. And then I play 8 crits. On my last deck profile I had 6 crits, 3 draws and 2 front triggers, because I wasn't sure what to play, a crit or a front, because sometimes if you don't have something in the back row, just 15k is not much. But when you draw a crit, you can much more push aggressively in the early turns. If you want, like turn 1 calling a bar to the right side too, a second one, or a Tenchastad, you can, or a Gojo, yeah. probably not the Gojo hopefully, but you can push it really hard, like attacking first with the rear guard and then with the Vanguard, because when you draw a crit he gets 2 damage and it's a double chance to get a defensive trigger. And with the crits you can put it on your rear guards, and that's fine because you're putting so much pressure with the rear guards that he wants to guard anything. And for example, let's say this is your board and you swing with Overlord and you have a setup like this. Then you pull 1 crit trigger, and just for the theory, with just pulling a crit trigger, we would always put it on Berserk Dragon, cause you want a persona right to get with your Tension stat, and you create a scenario where he has to guard either a crit target or something to something where I can search my persona right. So you're creating pressure on both rear guards, and now he has to decide which one to guard. Or if he can guard, he will probably guard both, and that's also good because he probably wants to get damage for his skills, but he has to fear that you will get the persona right for 100% next turn, or he will get just 2 damage from the Berserk Dragon with only 25k right now with 1 crit and power. Then I will go over some mulligan techniques I'm doing with this deck. And there are only 4 cards which I like to keep on my hand, cause in this deck your mulligan isn't that important like in other decks like Nirvana. You don't have a central key card in this deck right now. And the cards I like to always save at least 1 in hand is Bar. Cause Bar you don't want to search with another Bar, cause it doesn't seem like a worth search most of the time. Sometimes I do search him if I got a handful of 1s and 2s, but I missed the Bar cause he's a nice 13k booster. But you always want to search your perfect card. But Bar is just a nice card, and most of the decks don't retire him cause he's in the back row, so keeping a Bar is pretty good. And then of course 1 PG, not more, only 1, in case there are some or more criticals on 1 target and you just want the easy PG there. And the Harlem I would keep in hand, but also only 1, since it's just a nice 15k beater, and as soon as you come to your grade 3 turn, you can call out 1 Harlem from the soul and calling in the other one from hand. And you can do the play where your Overlord gets 10k plus attack and 23k at the beginning without any boosters now, is pretty strong, and it's also more annoying for the opponent to guard, because with 1 trigger on Overlord you would be at 33, so a 20k shield isn't enough, so a 20k is only 1 to pass. And then the other card I always keep at least 1 in hand is Tenjastad, cause Tenjastad is just another persona right searcher, which is pretty nice, and he's searchable. Now let's go to the most important play of this deck, and that is riding upon Bar. Because when Bar is rode upon, you can counterblast 1 and search a grade 1 from your deck, any grade 1. And with Bar, you always want to fill the missing piece in your hand. And that means if you have a PG in hand, I won't search another PG, except I'm playing against a high attack deck like Bastion. Bastion won't push early, but it will push after that with high beat sticks. Then I would search a second one. But against other decks, especially Magnolia or Zorga, those who doesn't create that much pressure, I won't get another PG. I will look out to, if I have a PG, like that's the first priority, PG. When I have already a PG, I'm searching a Tenjastad, and Tenjastad is just another persona ride in this deck. And if you already have your Overlord in your hand, you can also debate about searching your Tenjastad, cause when you rode upon Bar, you're getting an Nihalem onto the field. And what you can do now is calling the Tenjastad behind and attacking. The opponent probably won't won't guard this, and then you can retire Tencha stat if you got 2 damage, and you can search another Nihalem if you are lacking 1 Nihalem for the play, if you already got the persona right. But that's a play I wouldn't recommend to do that much often. It really depends on the situation, but it's a really nice trick. Then if you already have a PG and you already have a Tencha stat in hand, then I would search bar if you don't need a second PG depending on the matchup, but that's very specific and needs a lot of experience with playing this deck. But in the most of the cases, if you have 1 PG, 1 Tencha stat, you want to get 1 bar for the nice beat sticks on 1 column of the rear guards, and that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed my deck profile on Overlord. If you have any opinions about the deck and how to build it, or some nice techs or tweaks of what to play, leave it down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, make sure to subscribe or leave a like.
Spicy.